Well, thank you for being here. Our speaker today is Nichy Gomez. Nichy has a fascinating story. He was born in Panama, which I know there are some of you out there who don't have maps. That's in Central America. He came to the US and played basketball for the University of Arkansas, where he was a team captain. He competed in 3 NCAA tournaments, and his team took first place in the SEC, which is saying something. Nichy went on to have an outstanding career in professional basketball. He played in Argentina, Spain, Japan, and the United States. He's got really interesting entrepreneurial experience as well. Nichy and his wife, Morgan, started a company called Tumbleville Express, where they converted old school buses into a mobile tumbling gym, which is exceptionally creative. He came to SUU to be an assistant coach of the women's basketball team, and following the head coach's departure, Nichy took a job at Novi Home. He's currently VP of sales at Novi Home, which is one of the fastest growing tech companies in Southern Utah. We are very, very glad to have Nichy Gomez with us today. Please welcome Nichy Gomez.
Thank you, Tyler. Hey everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying school from home with all this COVID madness. No, not enjoying school from home. Oh, I see. Who's that? Is that Noah? Noah is not happy at home. Okay. Hey guys, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to allow me to be here and listen a few words from me today. I don't want to sit here and talk for 45 minutes. I want you guys to be as involved as possible. I'm going to go a little bit over my story, how I ended up here, and kind of what happened, what has happened in the last 23 years of my life since the day I got here. So bear with me here. I am your average Joe. I don't have this crazy story. I haven't made millions of dollars. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a Jeff Bezos, Amazon. I'm just like you guys, trying to figure it out, trying to move forward, trying to find ways to be financially stable and, create a future for my children. Okay, so with that said, Tyler, he mentioned I am from Panama. I was born and raised in Panama. I lived there until I was 17 years old. It was a fantastic experience. My family wasn't well off. We struggled a lot, but we had a roof to live under, and a lot of times we had to eat some bread with some butter and sugar in it. I don't know if anyone have been to the limit that's what you get for dinner, lunch, and breakfast. So anyhow, growing up in Panama, Panama being a city, it's a small city. But there's a lot of things to get your hands on there. Growing up there, sports was something that I got involved in really, really early. I started as believe it or not, I started as a baseball player. So I played baseball for a really long time. I was decent at it. I got some looks actually from some MLB clubs at a very young age. But I decided that wasn't my sport. I decided that I wanted to be a soccer player. I am from Latin America. Everyone plays soccer, right? Well, anyway, so I started playing soccer. It was a lot of fun. One slightly problem. I started growing. So I don't know if you can see on the camera, on the video, next to Tyler's film. I am 6'8". There weren't very many 6'8" soccer players out there. So that was a challenge for me. So I had to kind of switch it up a little bit. Someone saw me and said, hey, do you need to be playing basketball? So I began playing basketball at the age of 16. By the age of 17, I drew attention from, the national team and several scouts all over. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to deprive them of your hands. Oh, okay. Oh man, now you're gonna see all the boogers and stuff. No, just kidding. So like I was saying, I started drawing some attention from some scouts, the national team level in Panama, and all of a sudden my basketball career just took off. Okay, so basketball started going really, really well to the point that I got an opportunity to come to the U.S. and play for a high school here in hopes to go to college. But just like any kid, okay, that plays sports or maybe in business or maybe a family business, everything starts with a dream. Okay, before I started playing basketball, or when I started playing basketball, I had one dream and one dream only. Okay, everyone recognizes that logo with the Jordan right next to it, right? So hopefully, not too many of you guys don't know that name. But growing up, he was the icon for basketball. So when I was growing up, when I was playing basketball, I wanted to be like my. I mean, that's the reality. I wanted to go to North Carolina and play basketball. I wanted to be part of the NCAA, and consequently, I wanted to be in the NBA. Okay, well, unfortunately, all of those things didn't happen. Okay, so one of them did happen. I ended up playing collegiate basketball at the University of Arkansas. But what I'm here to tell you guys is everything, whether it's business, whether it's just a daily life, whether it's a career in anything, everything begins with a dream. Okay, but a lot of things also end at a dream. Okay, so if you have a dream, I encourage you guys to put action to it. Okay, if you don't put any action to it, it's not going to happen. My action was I was good. I was good at it. But really, my action was my mom telling me, you got to do this, you got to leave Panama, you got to go to the US. And she didn't really give me an option. Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit teary-eyed. My mom passed away about a year ago. But anyhow, her words were, you leave this country and don't come back. Okay, and I haven't been back since. So anyhow, everything started with that dream, that action. I was told I needed to go and I needed to make something out of myself, right? So sacrifices. Okay, this is something that you're going to run into a lot. Okay, whether in business again and in life. Okay, when you make decisions, a decision to be successful in anything, you're going to sacrifice a lot. In my case, I've sacrificed family, friends, relationships, and you can keep naming different things. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice involved. There is no successful business or entrepreneur out there that haven't sacrificed stuff. Okay, so just bear that in mind and just know whatever you get into, if you don't sacrifice, you're not doing it the right way. Okay, so kind of jumping back to the collegiate career, like I mentioned, I actually made it to the NCAA. I had my opportunity at the NBA. My collegiate career wasn't the best. It could have gone better. Okay, put it that way. Had a chance at going at the had my chance at the NBA. Went with the Dallas Mavericks. Got invited there a couple of times to try out at the camp, and unfortunately, I didn't make it. Okay, and in my collegiate career, I look back at it now and I'm like, well, it wasn't that bad. In some people's eyes, it might be, yeah, it was terrible, you didn't make it to the NBA. But now that I'm older, I can look back and realize, hey, I did make it to college. I made it through college. And hey, the college was paid for. So there is a lot of wins on that. Okay, so again, back to the NBA. So got there, didn't quite make it. I wasn't quite ready. So I consider that a failure in my process. And why is a failure in my process? Because I had a goal. Okay, I had a dream in mind. I needed to go and do all of this. And when I got there, I didn't finish the job, right? So there is no success without failure, right? And succeeding is not about preventing failure, but about learning from the experiences and applying the lessons to your next step. Okay, and that was a quote that I grabbed from the net there. You are going to fail and at different things. Okay, but those failures, okay, are not going to be the end of the world. Okay, make sure you take advantage of those failures to learn and continue to move forward. I could easily stop playing basketball. I could easily stop pursuing a professional career just then. But what this situation did for me, it was just open my eyes to realize, hey, I have to do more on my end. I have to sacrifice more in order to keep moving forward. So how can you redefine your failures to set up yourself for success? That's something that you often will need to ask yourself when you run across any walls or anything that slows you down a little bit. Okay, so self-belief and perseverance. Okay, this is something that I needed to have at the moment that I was told you're not good enough to be here. Okay, to play in the NBA. So I needed to figure it out. And the reason I needed to figure it out is I had $200 in my pocket. I was in the country with no parents. Okay, all my parents and all my family stayed back in Panama. When I moved here by myself with a backpack. Okay, so I went to high school. I lived with a host family. So I didn't really have a whole lot of a supporting cast behind me, especially when I graduated out of college, right? So $200 in my pocket, I didn't figure it out because I was told the moment I left Panama, you cannot come back here. If you come back here, you'll be a failure. So I needed to quickly figure things out. So I needed to have a lot of self-confidence and perseverance. You are going to run into a lot of this, whether you start a business, whether you go into school, whether it's life. You gotta be confident in yourself. You gotta have self-assurance. Be careful with self-assurance because you can come across too prideful. And sometimes when you're too prideful, you do not see the big picture. But you need to have a little bit of that in order to be successful out there. I'm not saying these are the only traits of a successful entrepreneur or a successful person. There's many, many traits out there. This is just a few and a few that have helped me in the past 23 years there. So the CEO of me. So the moment I got rejected from the NBA and I needed to figure out a way to move forward, okay? I needed to recreate myself, okay? So being a CEO of me is more about being a CEO of me is about more than building a successful business. It's about deciding what success means to you personally, okay? So with that said, your success is yours, okay? There is gonna be a lot of people, there's gonna be a lot of critics out there that will try to judge your success. Your success is yours. You decide what your success is, right? So the CEO of me, I started treating myself like a business, like an actual business. What do I need to do to get this business going? How can I get an opportunity to play for a team overseas and have a chance at having a career, right? So I had to learn quickly how to market myself. I needed to learn how to sell myself to teams, to owners, to GMs. I mean, it took a lot of work. Back then, there wasn't a whole lot of videos. There wasn't a whole lot of internet movement. I had to mail a lot of things. I had CDs that I had to record videos in and send those CDs out to different people in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world, per se. And once I got the opportunity there, now I needed to educate myself on how to negotiate a contract. At the time, when I got out of school, the first mistake that I think I made was hire an agent, okay? So I pretty much went and hired someone to do all of this, marketing, sales, contract, networking, the hiring process for me without me actually having an understanding of what went into all of that, okay? So I kind of regret taking that step. I wish I would have done that with me first learning how everything worked. before I hire someone to do the job for me. So anyways, sometimes we do things backwards, right? So contract negotiations, marketing. So there is no difference. Anything that I did for myself, there's no different than what you all will go through a business. Okay, when you start a business, you got to learn how to market that business, got to create the brand. You got to learn how to sell that product or service to whoever your customers are, the people that you will be seeking out to. You will handle contracts, you will handle different things, you will have to hire, fire people. So it was myself, I was no different than a traditional business. Okay, and that's why I respect a lot to all of the great athletes out there, the ones that are continuing to maintain a good image. They have a really good reputation. They're successful in what they do because the reality is their body, what they do on a daily basis, that's their business. So you got to be able to treat it such like in any other business. All right. So bold decisions. Okay. So obviously, I made it. I started playing pro. I played in several different countries, like Tyler mentioned earlier. I have fun. I had an opportunity to travel the world, make some money, and play something that I had a passion for, which is basketball. So it came a time in my career where I needed to make a decision. And I really don't recall why this came about and how it came about, but I just knew that I needed to make a change. So bold decisions are going to be something that you are going to make throughout your life, throughout your careers. All right. So in my case, I was in Argentina at the time. I probably spent in Argentina 7 years of my career. I spent in Argentina playing there. So I pretty much built a pretty good reputation. I had a very, very good salary while playing there. And I decided that I needed to move away from Argentina and go play somewhere else. Who in their right mind will leave a reputation, fantastic brand, great salary, I've won championships. Why would I want to move? Who in the right mind will sacrifice that to start all over again? Okay. Well, I did. Okay. Call me dumb, call me whatever you want, but I did. I just felt that I needed a change at that time. So I made a jump from Argentina to Japan. Okay. So pretty big jump. I had to sacrifice salary. I had to start all over again. And the reason why I did it is I think there is more out there for me. I needed a new challenge. I needed to challenge myself, start over. I was losing the love for it. I was getting comfortable. I said I needed to redo this. I needed to start over again and regain the love for the game and for what I was doing. So I made the jump to Japan. It was a struggle. We went from 6 figures to probably about $40,000 a year, which at the pro level is not a whole lot. I had to fly my family out there out of my own pocket when typically the teams used to pay for that. I had to pay for my own housing to go there, all the utilities, all my food. And I'm like, wow, what am I doing? And obviously my wife told me that too. What are you doing? Where are you taking us? So anyhow, it turns out that everything went well in Japan. I spent the last 3 years of my professional career in Japan. I had a multi-year contract. Every single year was over 6 figures. They're well over 6 figures there. So I just knew deep down, it was a gut feeling that I needed to make that change to pursue something better. And it turns out that it worked out for me. It doesn't always work that way. For you in your business and your daily life, you will have to make bold decisions. Be ready for them. Don't be afraid. Don't be fearful. When the time comes, you got to be ready to make those decisions. All right. So pretty interesting quote that I found on the net here is Vladimir Lenin. It is necessary sometimes to take one step backwards to take 2 steps forward. and that is so true. Okay, you will be able to, you will have to reinvent yourself several times before everything is all said and done. So have that in mind in anything you do moving forward there. So what success means to you personally. Okay, we talked earlier about who really owns the success, who's really in charge of your success. Well, you are. So you are the judge of your success. So to say the least, I ended up playing 11 years overseas. I played in 4 different continents: Asia, Europe, North America, and South America. I played over 600 plus games while I was playing overseas. That's for me is a huge accomplishment. Okay, so from a person that went from being rejected, say, hey, you're not good enough to play here, to go ahead and have an 11-year pro career, I think it was a pretty good achievement in my book. There are very, very many people out there who do not make it that far. So for me to do that was a huge accomplishment. So remember, what success means to you personally. That's what matters. Okay, so don't try to be like the next guy. Learn from the next guy, right? But don't try to compare yourself to the next guy. Remember, your success is yours, right? 2, probably right now, all of you guys are like, dude, what are you talking about? You know, do you even own a business? Right? So, well, yeah, I'm the CEO of me. Remember, don't forget that. But yes, I do. I have owned several businesses throughout my life. The most recent one, and probably the most successful business, was the Tumbling Express that Tyler mentioned earlier. So that was an idea that my wife and I, well, actually, really, my wife came up with. I just executed on it. Okay, so. One advice that I want to share with you guys and give you is if you end up creating or engaging in a business venture, okay, if you're a business owner, work your business, okay? And I'm not telling you this for just for kicks. Work your business, be part of your business, be hands-on, okay? And when you're hands-on, okay, my advice is to have a balance. Don't assume that there is no one out there that can help you. There will be people out there that can help you. You got to be able to have a balance, to trust someone to help you in your business. If you don't have that, you will come across very prideful, very, very hard-headed, and your business, chances are your business is going to go down. Okay? You are, don't forget, you are the boss. Okay, so when you do find that balance, okay, don't make the mistake of thinking that the person that you found cares like you do. It's your business. You own the business. You are the boss, okay? And the reason I tell you all of this is I had that problem. I ran into that. My wife and I created that fantastic business, okay? And we kind of got hands-on, we started, we got going, very successful. And then towards the end towards the middle of the business, we kind of got hands off. And it wasn't because we wanted to. That's actually was the time where we stopped leaving. I stopped playing basketball, and then I moved to Silver City, Utah. So we left the business. The business was originated in Oklahoma, so the business was still there. We had to kind of travel back and forth to kind of manage the business, and we decided to hire a manager and let that manager run the business while we lived here and try to, figure some things out while I was coaching at SUU. So at the end of the day, it didn't turn out as good as it should be. All right, so let's talk about Tumbling Express. Very creative idea. We didn't come up with the idea. We actually saw someone else do this. There was a business out there by the name of the Tumble Bus. This was back in 2009, 2010, if I recall correctly. my wife, we were in Japan, and actually we were in Argentina, and she was online looking at different things. It's like, we need to get a business going. We need additional income. And she ran across this Tumble Bus thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, babe, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. And she started doing and looking at different things, and she's like, yeah, we can do this. It's not gonna cost us that much. And typically when she says that, things end up costing me a whole lot more than what she initially says. So anyhow, we started looking into the tumble bus and say, how are we going to do that? I have no experience in how to get this thing going. We don't know what they charge. We don't know how they outfitted the bus. So anyhow, so what the tumble bus was, it was a school bus that was outfitted to be a gym on wheels. So they took all the seats out, they put carpet on the floor, they padded all the walls, and you put gymnastic equipment inside the bus. Okay, and the service was that we didn't transport any kids. We actually went to daycares and preschools, and the idea behind it was to give all the teachers at the schools a break from the kids. Hey, your kids can come out for 30, 40 minutes out here. We'll entertain them. You take a break, do whatever you want in there, and then you get the kids back in there. So that worked wonders. Every teacher in the state of Oklahoma and the city of Norman, Oklahoma was like, yes, we need a break. So anyhow, so the tumble bus, back to the tumble bus. How do we do it? How do we figure it out? So we did some research. With any business venture or anything that you guys will eventually get into, do your homework. Okay, research as much as you can, learn as much as you can about the product, the service, environment, just the competition and so on. So we figured out there was no competition in our city. The nearest competition, the nearest bus that was doing what we were doing was about an hour away. So it's like, we need to do this. So we figured, hey, let's go buy a bus and let's just outfit it, right? So yeah, that was a lot more complicated than that. So trying to figure out what bus to get, an affordable bus, and then take all the seats out. So we got that all figured out and took everything out. Now it's like, hey, how do we carpet this bus? Oh, easy. We can get some pad and do it. Oh, cool. How do we build a padded bus? Now I ran into a problem there. So, well, we can do this, we can do that. So I actually connected with a friend of mine that worked in RVs. And he's like, hey, I think we can do that. So he helped me kind of get all the walls padded and figure out the thickness of the foam in there for protection of the kids. And we finally figured it out. It took us probably 30 days to get the bus outfitted. With all this stuff, we started buying equipment. We put a zip line inside the bus. We got some rings, about some mats and different things. And then all of this was towards the end of the summer. The summers in Oklahoma are blasting hot. So we forgot a key thing to the bus. We have no ventilation inside the bus. So we needed to buy an AC. So I had to go in and search for an AC from an RV and install it inside the bus, which is, at the time, it wasn't a big deal. But then once we got all that set up and going, we were all excited, we're ready to go. Oh, we need to give power to that AC. So next thing I know, we ran into the hurdle of we needed to buy a generator. Okay, the special generators for those RVs are typically work best for kind of mobile vehicles like this. So we couldn't afford one of those at the time. So I figured, say, hey, we can get the business going, get some people going here, and then as soon as we get the capital to do that, we'll buy one of those. So, and I don't encourage people to do this, but I actually went to Sam's. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Sam's Club. So I went to Sam's Club and I bought a generator, $300 generator. Okay, so bought the generator, used the generators for about 25 days. In 25 days, I was able to, get registration, get fees in, and after 25 days, I took the generator back. Okay, so I made my money. I had everything I needed, and I finally was able to buy the generator that I actually needed for the bus. Okay, so don't encourage people to do that, but sometimes, you have a need and you got to get a business going. So there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of things that go into that. Tumble bus, the tumble bus idea was a fantastic idea. It came about, again, 2008, 2009 when the recession hit. Okay, so there was a lot of people without a job. The main reason we decided to do this is we had a young daughter at the time, and we wanted to be able to spend more time with her, and we wanted to create an environment where we could automatically have built-in strengths for her. So our idea wasn't really to make money, but we ended up making a lot of money out of that. So you can see some pictures of the tumble bus there. From all the things that I've learned while playing basketball, to market, to sell, all of these things came into play when I needed to put the brand of Tumbleville Express out there. Okay, so this video right here, I mean, it probably looks terrible right now compared to all the technology, but this was, I created this. I hired someone to create the song, but this is the tumble bus. It was the first tumble bus that we ever built. You can kind of get an idea of what it looks like and what it looked like on the inside a little bit. You could have 12 kids at a time inside the tumble bus. Okay, so we built that. I built this entire thing, obviously with some help, so we can have a business going. It was again, it was a great idea. It was a great run. Just put it that way. So, and let me just click out of there real quick. So, just to give you guys some numbers on the tumble bus, okay, just to see how this business actually ended up working for us. Okay, we had the business. We actually sold the business about a year ago. Okay, so we used to charge $38 per month per kid. Okay, so we had a total of 300 kids. All right, and we also charged a $20 registration fee every year that included a T-shirt. Okay, so you guys are really good with numbers. If you multiply 38 by 300 kids, we're looking roughly about $12,000. So this business generated $12,000 a month. Okay, something that just started just as an adventure, an idea that came from my wife, actually created a lot of revenue for us. Okay, so, and the beauty of the business was the bus only worked 4 days a week. This is like the perfect job. 4 days a week from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. That was it. So if that's not the perfect job for some of you, I don't know what is. It's like you work 4 hours a day, you earn over $10,000 a month, okay, and then you only work 4 days a week. Okay, so we had the perfect formula back then. And obviously, like I told you, we ended up moving to Cedar City. I had to hire a manager. The last 4 years of the business, everything went downhill. Why? Because we weren't there to put hands on the business, get things going, and manage things how they needed to be managed. The people that you end up hiring, they do not care as much as you do from an owner standpoint. Don't ever forget that. Okay, I had to learn it the hard way. Even though I knew it, I still didn't execute on it. We ended up selling the business for a lot less than it was worth, just because their profits weren't the same. Another thing, kind of jumping back to bold decisions. Okay, my wife and I talked several times about, hey, this is going great. Let's sell the business. Sell it while it's hot, right? And we just kind of talked back and forth, and we ended up with the conclusions like, let's keep milking this cow. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And sometimes I wish I would have sold the business a lot sooner than I did, because the profit would have been a lot larger. Okay, decisions like that, sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you don't, but that's just part of just being an entrepreneur, just making decisions and trying to figure out a way to continue to be successful there. So next business venture, this is my most current business venture. Okay, so about 3 years ago, after we sold the tumble bus last year, and prior to selling the tumble bus, I started Jag Sports Global Consulting. Okay, so obviously my passion, my background is athletics. I play basketball. So pretty much what I did is I want to grow this. I want to create a brand where my kids can just, they can grow, they can manage their business, and they can have something when I'm no longer here, right? So we started Jag Sports. Jags, the letter JAAG, that's the first initials of my all my kids. I have 4 children. Those are their initials. That's how the name came about. Okay, so pretty much what Jag Sports is kind of the parent company. Okay, that's the holding company. Under that, we have the umbrella of. Under that umbrella, we have SUU Hoops Travel Team. So about 3 years ago, we started competitive basketball here in Cedar City. So we have 13, 14 teams, depending on the year, that we manage from grade 4 through 8th grade. Okay, so we have 14 teams. We take kids, we play, we go to St. George, we go to Vegas, we go to Salt Lake. So we pretty much started an AAU team. Okay, we saw that there was a need for that here, and we just started that from the ground up. And now the program is on its 3rd year, and it's going really, really well. And again, the reason behind it wasn't money, wasn't financially. It was really an opportunity. We saw an opportunity to say, hey, we need this here, and we also have 4 children. They will all need a place to play. So all of my business, all of my ventures have been based on my family, what they need, and what we need to continue to move forward. Okay, and that might not be the case for any of you in the future, right? So the next thing that we started there too is evolution training. So I actually train high school kids, younger kids, middle school age kids. I train them basketball. I try to pass on what I've learned for several years back to them so they can have a successful career. I don't want them to, not necessarily not to make the mistakes that I made, but to be aware of those mistakes. If you, again, you don't want, sometimes those mistakes teach you a lesson, right? So I want them to be aware of that. So I trained several kids here in town. Some of them are moving on to high school, but that's this next part of the Jag Sport. And the most recent one is the league developer. It's like, well, there's a lot of leagues out there. We're traveling to all of these places, so we decided to start our own league here. So we have what we call a pre-border league. I don't know if you guys are familiar with border league basketball, with the high schools and play with other high schools and different things like that. Well, we kind of started like a preseason border league. So we started that last year. We started with 6 teams. This year we triple that. We're looking at probably 18 teams this year, and we have more teams on the list that want to come and play in all the leagues. So again, not necessarily for profit. It's just more for an opportunity for my kids to play, for the kids in town to play. It's a way to give back all those years that I spent playing the sport that I love. So at the end of the day, none of this stuff is or was possible without my team. So I've been a single business owner. My wife and I, we haven't had any partners in Tumbleville Express. I financed that out of pocket. So obviously I was playing pro career. I had the cash flow for it. So I paid for everything. I didn't own the business to a bank. Everything was mine. Not really sure that that's a normal thing out there, but it was really good for us because I didn't have to answer to anyone. Okay, so I financed everything, and all the profit that came in was for us, right? But I couldn't done anything without this is the #1 team right here. So those are my managers right there, and that's the boss, right? So I couldn't have done anything without them and their support. So in your life, in any business venture that you do or you have, you are going to have a supporting cast. It might not be a wife and 4 children. It might be just a special someone, but you will have that supporting cast. And make sure that you let them know that you are not where you are at without them. Okay, so I've talked more than I plan on speaking today. I want to encourage you guys to see if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm just your average Joe. I'm still trying to figure this out. And I think the last part that I kind of left out is, and Tyler alluded to it, I've done all of this, okay, in recent years while still holding a full-time job. Okay, so I obviously played professional basketball, started at Tumbling Express. I moved on to Cedar City and coached at SUU. That forced me to pivot into a different direction. Our staff got fired. We didn't win enough games. That's the reality. So another minor step back, but I had to completely change the direction I was going and pivot. Luckily, throughout my years at SUU, I did something that was very, very key. I networked. I met people. I talked to people. Every chance, every opportunity I had, I talked to people. And it turns out that one of those people gave me an opportunity to work at Novi Home. Novi Home, like Tyler said, is the hottest thing in the market. And no one would think that it's based out of Cedar City, Utah. We have an office in Main Street. Nobody knows where it is. It's all hidden in there. But Novi Home is probably the future of technology. Okay, so we are a software company. We have a pretty sweet product out there. We are in the real estate industry. And I was blessed enough to, again, connect with the people at Novi Home. Currently, I am the VP of sales for Novi Home. I am the #1 salesperson in the company. And then there is a big, bright future ahead of the entire company and all of the members of that company. But I'll leave that story for another day. What I'm telling you is, you can do anything you put your mind into. You can do it even if you have a job, even if you think you're too busy. There's always time to create another business venture. So for you all out there, you don't have to be a Jeff Bezos. You can be the contractor or the handyman that's been doing business in town 30 years and has been running a successful business. There is an opportunity for everyone out there. Don't feel or think that if you're not a billionaire or multimillionaire, you're not successful. Remember, success is what you think it is. Okay? This is all I got, Tyler.
Oh, Nichy, thank you so much. We have a ton of questions that people chatted. I wanted to give someone, if they were planning on asking verbally, a chance to ask. I'll just open that up for a second. Mikey?
Yeah, I was just curious, do you have a morning routine or something specific in your routine that kind of helps you be in like the right mindset of perseverance and self-belief so that way you can start the day right?
Yeah, I do. So every day, and this might not be the case for you, Mikey, right? So, and I think I alluded to it a little bit in there. So my routine starts with my mother's words: "Do not come back. If you come back, you're a failure." So anything I do in life is based from that phrase that she told me the day I left Panama to come to the U.S. So everything is based on that. So whatever wall I run into, whatever problems I run into, it's like, I cannot go back. Okay, I gotta figure out a way to move forward. So does that answer your question, Mikey?
Good one. All right, I've got another one for you. This one comes from from Courtney Glad. Wait, yeah, okay. So Courtney wants to know, between the tumble bus and the basketball league that you started, which one do you consider more successful and why?
Oh man, that's a tough one. So the basketball consulting is fairly new. Is definitely profitable, but the tumble bus, I gotta be honest with you, that has been my favorite and the most profitable business venture that I've been to. I've also done real estate. I've done rental properties, and I'm also involved in the real estate market. I mean, not in the real estate market, but on the stock market. But the tumble bus was the funnest and probably the most profitable.
All right, this one comes from Tim. How has traveling around the world changed your perspective on business and yourself?
Great question. It changed a lot. Being able to experience different countries, different cultures, and different business. You know, everyone is different. And I give you an example. And this is not to attack anyone or say anything bad about anyone. A doctor in the U.S. compared to a doctor internationally. Okay. Everyone's probably aware of doctors. You drive a Mercedes Benz, maybe a Cadillac, you got this big old mansion out there, and a doctor in Latin America probably just drive a Toyota Highlander. You know what I mean? And for his side of the world, he's making good money just like the doctors here. But the business perspective is totally different. It's like, he tells you, it's like, you can be a doctor and still don't drive a cab. You know what I mean? So that it really opens your eyes to what else is out there. I lived in Spain as well. Most of the people in Spain live in apartments. Okay, so very nice apartments, but they live in apartments. They have small cars. Okay, most of the people in the U.S. live in big houses with a lot of land and big old SUVs. Okay, it just kind of opens you up to different things. It's like it just kind of gives you that idea of it can be done a different way. Okay, so you don't have to. You can be successful and you can have all the money in the world, but you don't necessarily have to show for it. In another word, so.
All right, I think we have time for one more. This one comes from Lana Wilson. I am a college athlete and a senior, so this will be my last year playing competitive sports. Do you have any advice for me as I transition from a life of collegiate athletics to a business career?
Yes, my advice is you should have been thinking about that 4 years ago. So no, and that's a joke. I've been there, I went through it, and we all do it. We wait till the last minute and say, oh, what do I do now? My best advice to you is whether you are going, if you have a decision where you want to go into or not, just network with as many people as possible. Okay, you might be graduating with a marketing degree, you know, or exercise science, but you might end up being a realtor. It doesn't really matter. Meet as many people as possible, network, understand what they've done in the past to become successful, because the reality is you are going to change what you do in your career 3 or 4 times before you figure it out.
Nichy, thank you so much for your thoughtful answers. You know, so I'll dismiss class. There's one other. If you want to stick around, Nichy, do you have another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let me just wrap things up, and then if you've got additional questions, you're welcome to stay on. But I do want to just say thank you for participating in our speaker series. We have not had someone of your profile. We don't have a lot of people who come from Panama to a tech company by way of basketball and tumble bus. That's a unique profile, and really glad that you're able to share your insights with us. And I'll just add two other things. One is I know Nichy, I know his children. He is an outstanding father, and I'm proud to say that. The second thing is that this is a first for us in the entrepreneurship program. We've never had anyone with arms as thick as Nichy speak in the entrepreneurship speaker series. So with that in mind, let us all thank Nichy with a big round of applause.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Here's a great question that came in from Michaela. I've been offered an internship in Panama next summer. With you being from there, what would you recommend I do to prepare for the cultural change, and how, sorry, more questions are coming in, it keeps moving. And how did you handle moving away from your family to things that were new and maybe even uncomfortable?
Oh, wow. Okay, so let me tackle the first one. Learn Spanish. So if you go to Panama, you gotta learn Spanish. As far as the culture goes, you're not gonna see a big change. Panama these days, very similar to the US. You will have all of the commodities and different things that you have here at home. So in that regard, you know, it's not gonna be too shocking. Be ready for the people in Panama to be very very warm to you. You know, they're gonna hug you, they're gonna kiss you on the cheek. They're gonna invite you to do different things. They're very, very warm over there. So you will find that some people find that very like weird. It's like, hey, why are you like hugging me and stuff? That is going to happen a lot to you there. Where, if you don't mind me asking, Michaela, where is your internship?
I think it's in the second biggest city. So not Panama City, but it starts with a C. Sorry, I don't remember it, but
Okay, in Coquelin?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and what are you doing there?
I'm helping start a residential care facility for adults with disabilities.
Man, they need that, and I say that with a lot of pain in my heart. Is my mom, like I mentioned earlier, passed away about a year ago, and that was one of the struggles that I ran into. My dad was caring for her; he's older as well, and I didn't really found a place where I was comfortable in at any given time, like putting her there so she can receive the care. So if you can go ahead and do that, that would be fantastic. I'll donate to your foundation. So that would be great. What was the other question? I forgot the other question. Got carried away.
Just how to handle the shock of moving away from family.
The family, yes, that's right. Michaela, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's gonna be super hard to you. So, and I'll give you my own personal example. I cried for the first 3 months that I was away. So I cried in my room every night that I wanted to go home, and my mother did not let me come home. To the point that I was so freaked out, and this is a funny story, this kind of sidetrack. So the second night, I just left Panama, and right before I left, there was this case on the news, and I'll be really quick on this. This case on the news where a boyfriend just kind of murdered his girlfriend in an apartment, and he cooked her up. Like he chopped her up and then he boiled her so it didn't bleed, right? So I was freaking out. I just saw that in the news, and I had to get on the plane like a week later from that. So funny thing is, second day of me staying with the host family I stayed with in the US, I was sleeping in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden I started smelling this funky smell in the middle of the night. I mean, it was like something was dead. So anyhow, it was a funky smell. I got up, I opened the door from the bedroom I was staying in, and I started crawling to the living room towards the kitchen. And the kitchen light was on, and man, the smell just got stronger and stronger. So I finally made it to the stove and kind of opened up what they had, And obviously me being a kid and what I just seen in Panama, they had some things chucked up in there that were boiling, and I freaked out. I ran back to my room, locked the door, and I think that family didn't see me for the next day. I was in my room with the door locked the entire day. It turned out to be in the South, so I was in Arkansas. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with chitlins. It's like pig intestines. So when you don't clean them up, they smell really bad when you boil them. That's what they were cooking. But I was just being a kid and nervous wreck, and I just thought the family I was living with, chop somebody up and we're cooking them. So anyhow, it is not going to be easy, but you will get over. You will make it. You will find a lot of people there that will support you, will help you. And again, you can't replace family, but you will overcome that. It is going to be hard. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Nichy, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for your attention. It's been an outstanding day.
Thank you, guys.